been looking at the Canon AT-1 and you're wondering, is this camera for me? Well, let me start off by saying this bad boy is the older sibling to the Canon AE-1 program, and it's quite different. But is it worth it for you? Well, let's unpack. First of all, the Canon AT-1 is much more affordable. And secondly, it's fully manual camera, which some of you guys might be a bit scared of, but it's a great tool to actually learn photography and learn the ins and outs of film photography as well. And today we'll explore how this camera works, what makes it unique, and my approach to getting crisp shots. Additionally, I took a trip to Cape Town, South Africa, and I'll share some of those pictures with you guys as well. My name is Chad. Hey.
My name's Jeff.
My name's Jeff. Hey, if it's your first time here, my name is Chad, and I occasionally do reviews on old film cameras. Released in the late 1970s, the Canon AT-1 was designed for photographers who preferred full manual control. Like many cameras of the 1970s, the AT-1 has a metal body and mechanical parts, making it quite durable compared to the modern plastic-bodied cameras. While it shares the same body as the original AE-1, the AT-1 removes the shutter priority auto exposure mode in favor for pure manual experience. I'm not going to lie, at first this scared me a bit, but I'll share some tips and tricks on how to get a good shot. The shutter speed ranges from 1 second to 1,000th, with a bulb mode for long exposure and a flash icon at the 60th mark. Let me know if you guys want me to deep dive in future videos on how to use a flash with this beast. The aperture is controlled manually on the lens, and film speed is set via the ISO dial on the top plate, from ISO 25 all the way to 3200. In this video, my ISO was set to 200 as I shot on a Fujifilm 200 roll. The AT-1 requires a battery to power the shutter as well as a light meter. When I initially tested this camera, I thought that the camera was broken, but luckily it just needed a battery to power the shutter button. To find the battery, all you have to do is look for the small compartment on this side of the camera. There's a little clip over there. All you do is push something small or flat in there and jam it open, but be careful as these latches tend to break quite easily on these cameras. To test the battery, all you'll have to do is locate this little on and off switch. You can see that it's on, off, and there's a C next to it over there, and this C is to test your battery and whether it has power. Inside of the viewfinder, you'll see a little circle and a little straight hand, and that straight hand should point all the way to that top notch. Then you know you have power in your camera. To load film into the AT-1, it's quite simple. You pop this open like so and release the door by pulling up on this lever. Once that's complete, you take your film, place it in here. Make sure if it does not go in, you can just lift it up again, and you pull your film all the way into this holder right here. Once that's loaded, do 2 winds, 1, 2, and you'll be ready to go. That should change from S to 1. When you look through the viewfinder, you'll see 2 focusing aids. Number 1, a split image circle in the center, and the second one is a micro-prism ring, which is around it. The split image works like this. When your subject is out of focus, the image inside the center of the circle will appear split horizontally. As you turn the focus ring on your lens, those 2 halves will align. When they snap together into one clean image, you're in focus. The micro-prism ring around the center will shimmer or blur when out of focus. As you get closer to the proper focus, it clears up. Now, let's talk exposure. The AT-1 uses a center-weighted TTL light meter. TTL meaning through the lens. And if you look inside of the viewfinder, you'll see a needle on the right hand side, which moves up and down depending on how much light is coming through the lens. You control exposure using the shutter speed dial on the top of the camera and the aperture ring on the lens. The goal is to adjust both of these until the needle is centered. Another tip is to get familiar with the Sunny 16 rule when shooting film. Sunny 16 helps you identify which aperture to choose at what shot. For example, when it's bright and sunny outside, shoot at f16. When it's slightly overcast, you drop that down to f9 or f11, and we drop the aperture all the way down to its lowest aperture when shooting indoors. For my lens, that would be f1.4. This approach, coupled with a light meter, should guarantee proper exposure. Okay, so let's run through those tips again. So set your ISO to match the film stock, for example 200 in my case. Choose an aperture first, depending on your creative goal. For example, if you want a shallow depth of field, go as low as possible. Then point the camera at the subject and look at the light meter. adjust the shutter speed until the needle is centered. It's a simple, effective system that encourages a solid understanding of the exposure triangle, a great foundation for anyone serious about photography. I took the AT-1 Canon camera out on a recent trip to Cape Town, South Africa, and I paired it with the 50mm lens. Previously I shot on it once before, and that was with expired film. The results varied a bit. Some of them were very underexposed and very dark and gloomy, while some of them came out just okay. But this time around I decided to take some fresh film. I got the Fujicolor 200 and popped it in the camera, and overall my experience was quite good. The combination of the AT-1 and the 50mm lens was quite good. It was a smooth lens to work with, and the shallow depth of field was quite great as well. I enjoyed that I had to take a step back and actually process the scene. I had to make sure that the composure was right. I had to read the light meter, and I had to make sure that all of the different elements were working in sync. And generally my light meter was quite accurate when using the camera indoors as well as outdoors. So if you are looking for a traditional 35mm film camera, I highly recommend the Canon AT-1. What I really enjoyed about the camera is its vintage feel. It slowed me down a lot when taking pictures. Not much more enjoyable, but enjoyable to take your time with your pictures and make sure that what you're capturing is actually what you want to capture. Overall, I would recommend this camera as a good camera to learn photography, especially film photography. Thank you very much for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!